engineers and cooks from former Soviet countries, suspecting them of being pro-Gaddafi snipers. 2 Russians were later released along with the Ukrainian couple after they managed to contact the Russian embassy. But more than a dozen Ukrainians are still being held. RT's Maria Finoshna is in Tripoli for us.
Well, as far as we know, 32 people, including 2 owners of the Russian passports and also Belarusian and Ukrainian citizens, apparently working for the Russian-Libyan oil company here in Tripoli. Engineers and cooks, men and women, have been arrested here in Tripoli shortly after the rebels took the Libyan capital and have been put into one of the rebels' training centres here in the capital after they've been accused of being snipers of Gaddafi. We have been able to speak to the detainees and they deny all allegations.
For some reason, they think that Slavic people are snipers. We have nothing to do with that. We came here to earn money peacefully.
These people say that they've been provided with food and water, but some of them have been severely beaten and tortured by the rebels. The Russian embassy has actually managed to release 2 owners of the Russian passports and a Ukrainian couple, but around 20 other Ukrainians are still being held by the rebels here in Tripoli.
The Ukrainian embassy refused to take them.
They said they don't have running water.
They said that they don't have proper accommodation, so they said it would be better to stay in captivity.
Well, the latest what we are hearing from Bani Walid, southeast of the capital Tripoli, where the fighting over Gaddafi's last and main stronghold has been continuing in the last few days, is that the rebel forces have reportedly reached a deal with Gaddafi's loyalists on the ground to enter the city without fighting. This information is yet to be confirmed, but if there is such a deal, if there is such an agreement between the rebel forces and Gaddafi's forces in Bani Walid, that actually would mean a breakthrough. And we are also receiving reports that scores of the Libyan army's vehicles have reportedly crossed the frontier border into Niger, and many believe that Gaddafi himself could also be among them and could also have fled the country. We are receiving these reports just hours after Gaddafi's information chief, Muslim Brigade, has claimed that the embattled colonel is in the country and has no plans to leave it anytime soon.
Maria Finoshna reporting there. Well, Middle East analyst Rosemary Hollis from London City University told us she believes the war in Libya could fuel British and French appetites for new interventions now, as she explains to RT in about 20 minutes' time.
Cameron and Sarkozy took a massive gamble that they could pull something off in Libya that would contrast with the disaster that was the intervention in Iraq. And you now have President Sarkozy talking as though this is a template for future interventions. This is very much a kind of proxy war, which must be extremely exciting and exhilarating at some level to be involved in. So the appetite for further interventions will exist.
The Council of Europe's legal committee is to look closer into Swiss claims that 14 European countries allegedly allowed the CIA to operate secret prisons on their soil. The report by politician Dick Marty says US actions in those detention centres violated basic human rights, and indeed torture was widely used. The EU's chief human rights commissioners already urged Poland, Lithuania and Romania to come clean about their roles, and told RT that countries need to decide if intelligence ties are more important than human rights.
There is an enormous pressure from Washington to keep all this secret. In fact, instructions from CIA with the support of the White House not to give any facts on this. So therefore it's not easy to investigate. But I think that some of the European governments who have been involved, they have to decide whether they think that the cooperation between the security agencies are more important than to look into human rights violations and break the atmosphere of impunity.
Ukraine